So on Monday night, Shane Ronayne was confirmed as the new Waterford football manager on a 2-year term. The Mitchelstown man has enjoyed All-Ireland success with the Tipperary and Mourne Abbey ladies teams, and delighted to say that Shane joins me on the line now. And I suppose, first of all, Shane, congratulations on your appointment. How did all this come about?
Thanks very much, Tomas. I got a phone call just after Christmas from the chairman, Shane Ronayne, asking was I interested in putting my name forward for the position, and probably something I hadn't thought about really at all. After I stepped down from Tip, I had I suppose was looking to get maybe involved in the men's game at either club level or I suppose aspirationally at intercounty level, and I hadn't given much thought to anything really. I turned down a couple of different clubs, and when Sean rang, I was a bit, I suppose, surprised to be asked was I interested, and I asked him for a couple of days to think about it, and I suppose I went away and spoke to friends and family, and had a good think about it myself, and spoke to a couple of people down who I know had been involved with Waterford, and they spoke very highly about the whole thing down there, and my dad is a Waterford man as well, so I think all these things came together, and I said I rang Sean back on a couple of days later and said that I was interested in having a further chat with them, and had a chat with the interview committee that the Waterford County Board had set up, and outlined what I wanted to do, and they asked me certain things about what way we were going to do things, and it all was very positive, and I suppose Sean rang me the following day to say that they were happy to let my name go forward to the executive on Monday night, and look, it's been a hectic time since, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, has your phone been pinging in the last couple of days, Shane, with well wishes from all around the country?
It has, it's amazing the interest that I've been warned about the interest that a men's intercounty job actually creates. Because look, I have been highly involved in ladies football with Tipperary, both in intermediate and senior, and at the highest level with Mourne Abbey as well, with winning senior club All Ireland. But I think the interest that the male side of the GA generates, is far greater than the female side. So like huge well wishes from all over the country, from the ladies football side, from people I had been involved in, GA wise, years ago. Back I was down in the team in Limerick, Staker Wallace, years and years ago. Must be 10, 12 years ago, and a lot of those lads were on to me because of course they'd have seen it, and just enormous amount of goodwill out there, and wishing me luck. And I think everybody was very positive about it, and the general message about everything I'm hearing about the lads below in Waterford are that they're a seriously committed bunch, and people are really looking forward to see what I can bring to the table and how we're going to get on. But huge amount of goodwill out there, and I'm delighted with that, and I suppose I'm delighted for my dad as well that that I'm going to be involved with Waterford. So I have that connection with Waterford, and I always have a great respect for Waterford GA, and to have that connection with Dad, I think it's it's great for him as well, and I'm delighted to be getting involved with Waterford.
Yeah, I believe your father's a Clashmore man, Shane. Did he have any influence in your decision?
Yeah, look, I spoke to him about it, and I suppose he never pushes me to do things or puts me off doing things, whatever team I want to be involved in, but he's always been very supportive, and I suppose he got me involved in coaching a long time ago when I was training the Mitchelstown under 16s when he was the manager, and I could tell that he would be interested in me doing the job, because he's a great affinity with Waterford GA. He's been out of Waterford for probably 45 years or so. He's living in Mitchelstown, but Waterford is very special to him, and I know how much Waterford GA means to him. Especially the last few years with the hurlers going well and things like that, you can see how much it does mean to him, and I'm certainly very happy to be to be able to make him proud, hopefully, that being involved, and he's very proud Clashmore man. Always follows the Clashmore their teams and whatever they're playing in, and he's still when before I suppose all the regulations came in, he would have been up and down to Waterford, down to Clashmore, once or twice a week, and a lot of families still down there, so there's still a big affiliation with Waterford.
What appealed to you about the role of Waterford manager, Shane, when the committee approached you recently?
I suppose, Tomas, it was a challenge. I suppose it's something, as I said there earlier on, that wanted to get involved in the men's game, and the last time I was involved there was a couple of years ago with my own club, Mitchelstown. I stepped away from that, and I was doing so much with the ladies football. It's just something challenging, I suppose. I want to challenge myself. I think there is that potential down there to in Waterford to improve. Look, they're down where they are in Division 4, and I think it's something different. I think I've gone in. I suppose I'm used to going into teams there lately where I suppose the expectation was that maybe with Tipperary to get them up to senior status, with Mourneabbey to win a county and to win the Munster and All Ireland and things like that. And I think this is a different challenge, and I think it's one that I'm maybe coming out of my comfort zone. I think I'm going to enjoy it, and I think that was the huge thing about it, that it's going to be a real challenge, and it's going to challenge me as a manager and as a coach, and I think that'll be good for my development. I'm still in a learning curve in the game. I've plenty to learn, and hopefully this experience will be beneficial for both me and for Waterford.
In terms of your backroom team, Shane, do you know as of yet who will be joining on the sideline for 2021?
I can't confirm anything at the moment, Tomas. I'm talking to lots of people who have been involved and things like that, and I suppose I didn't want to preempt anything by doing anything before Monday night. I wanted to respect the process that has to go through. So I've only been speaking to people now in the last 24 hours about sorting a few things out, and have a few people in mind. There are certain people who are very committed to Waterford football, and they've indicated that they would like to stay involved and things like that. So I'm in discussions with those. The county board have given me, I suppose, free rein to, if I want to keep people on, or I want to, to bring my own people with me and things like that. There's been no issue with the county board. They've been very supportive that way. So I can't confirm at the moment, and I wouldn't like to, I suppose, give names or anything like that when everything isn't finalised. And look, once it's all finalised, I'll let you know. And but we are trying to put together the best backroom team that we can, that we feel that will bring Waterford football forward.
Very good. And I suppose going back to the very start, Shane, I suppose listeners will be familiar with your work recently with Tipperary and Mourneabbey as well. But what was the very first team that you took charge of?
I think it was Mitchelstown under 16s. Dad was managing them, and I was coaching them. That was my first experience. I was still in college in UL, doing PE teaching, and I suppose the first kind of team I took by myself would have been I suppose the school teams and things like that would have been my first foray into managing by myself. And I suppose I moved on from there to UCC, and UCC connection got me involved with Cork under 16s. I was manager of Cork under 16 ladies, and then went up to the Cork seniors, and then was involved with Mourneabbey for the last 7 years, and will be continuing to be involved with them this year. And I suppose then got involved with Tip, was with underage teams in Tip years ago, and I suppose the 2017 was when I took over as manager of the inter-county team. That was my first real big step up role into an intercounty job. And look, I suppose I've been doing it for a long time now at this stage. I'm not that old, but I've been kind of coaching for a long time, and I suppose I've learned from lots of experienced guys like Shane Ronayne, who I was involved with Cork for a couple of years, and no, it's something to enjoy. And as I said, I think this is a new challenge. I think it's going to test me, and I think and I'm looking forward to that.
You've enjoyed 2 All-Ireland intermediate wins with Tipperary, Shane, in 2017 and 2019. You also got back-to-back All-Ireland clubs with Mourneabbey in 2018 and 2019. What would you regard as the biggest achievement of your managerial career to date?
I suppose probably my most enjoyable day was the day that Mourneabbey won the All-Ireland Club. I suppose we had lost 3 of the previous 4 finals, lost the All-Ireland semi-final the other year, and I suppose I just have a great I suppose grow off from Mourneabbey, and that was the pinnacle of what I've done, and I suppose after that I suppose then was regaining senior Tip in 2019 after they had been relegated in 2018. It was a very sweet moment to win that All-Ireland again. But I think the Mourneabbey All-Ireland club win would be top of the pile for me. Yeah,
and of course Mourneabbey and Ballinmacarbery here in Waterford have had some great battles in Munster finals in recent times, Shane, and I suppose that championship is currently on hold at the moment. There's a lot of uncertainty about it. But do you intend to stay on as Mourne Abbey manager for the time being?
I do, Tomas. I had told the Mourne Abbey chairman when I was stepping down from Tip that I would like to stay on if the committee in Mourne Abbey and the players were happy for me to do so. And he said they were, and the players have been in touch to make sure that I'd stay on. And even after this announcement, the amount of, I suppose, texts from Mourne Abbey, people wishing me well, and expressing happiness that I'm not leaving them. So I think it's I suppose the split season will help that way. The Waterford intercounty season should be finished by the end of June, start of July. No matter how well we do, that's around the time frame it's going to be over it. So I'm going to. Look, there was never an issue before with regards clashes or things like that with Mourne Abbey and Tip. So I have a good backroom team in Mourne Abbey, and if they need to, do a bit themselves early on the year, they will. There'll be no problem with that. So, and that's the intention at the moment. And hopefully, look, whenever the club campaign resumes, there's talk of resuming in June for Munster semi-finals in the club from this year. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's the plan at the moment. And maybe look forward to another battle with Ballymacarbery. This year, it started the middle of this year, and probably maybe at the end of the year again.
I suppose over the coming weeks, Shane, you're going to become very familiar with these Zoom calls, because as we all know, under the GA guidelines, the collective training isn't going to be allowed until February at the earliest due to the level 5 lockdown. Well, what are your plans over the coming weeks, I suppose, to get to know the players first of all, and then get them ready for the start of the National League? Yeah,
look, we're hoping to maybe sort something out by the weekend, that we can have a Zoom meeting with the players. Look, it's not ideal. You'd much prefer to be meeting them face to face and having a normal meeting with them. But look, we are where we are. It is what it is. I think everybody just, has just to accept that everybody's in the same position. I suppose there is a bit of a drawback in the fact that I don't know these players. If I had been involved before, it would be easier dealing with these Zoom calls. But look, I think everybody is very adaptable. There's I'm sure that the members of the present panel are looking forward to get back going. We're going to, I suppose, I'm going to work with the management team to give them work to do remotely, and we're going to abide by all the guidelines. We won't be able to go back. At the earliest, it's going to be start of February. Could go back a couple of more weeks the way things are. And look, whenever it's safe to do so, we will go back collective training. And in the meantime, look, these guys are very committed, and I know they'll work away themselves remotely at home, and and doing their own stuff, and doing their bit of their gym work and their core work, and all the other little things, all the other boxes they've got to take. And look, I know the Waterford footballers are as committed as any other group in the country. Just because they are where they are in Division 4, that doesn't mean they're not superly committed. And I know there's lots of them doing lots of work already. So I've no worries that way. Look, it is a bit awkward, I suppose, to be can't meet face to face, but we'll make do with what we can. And I think once everybody's adaptable and embraces that, I think we'll be fine.
And as you touched on earlier, Shane, this is a very different challenge for you. Like, Waterford have been stuck in Division 4 for the last 10 years. Like, they have been very competitive. There's been a lot of narrow defeats under Tom McGlinchey and Benji Wheel. And I was looking back, like, there's been 14 defeats by 2 points or less since 2015. So Waterford have been getting pretty close in these matches. Are you hoping during your tenure to maybe turn some of those performances into results?
Yeah, look, that's the big thing. That when you look back at the results, you see from the outside, before you look at the results, you're thinking, oh, look, they're down the bottom of Division 4. But there's very few games where they weren't very close to teams, as you said there. Like, some of those defeats were by a couple of points and goal here and there. And I think it's about, like, I'm not going to set specific goals that we want to, we have to get out of Division 4 or something like that, or we have to win a championship game and things like that. I think that can hold you back. What we're going to look at is getting that consistent performance. I suppose a lot of the games that they play well for long periods, and then maybe something goes wrong, and I suppose that's what happens when you're losing these tight games. And I think if we can get that belief in the lads, and maybe work on improving their performance each and every session and each and every match, I think they can really improve, because there is a lot of good footballers down there. the Waterford football, club championship was very, very competitive. Like the Nair were very close to winning the Munster club championship a couple of years ago. When you think that the Waterford were only beaten by a point by Cork, in 2017, really close games, beaten by a point by Clare the following year. I think it's just about getting consistency into performance and getting belief into the lads. And I think if we can do that, I think we can make improvements. And I would have used that model with whatever team I'm going with. That it's not about the results. We need to work on other things, and then the results start to take care of themselves. And hopefully, if the lads, we can tick all the boxes and the lads can do everything they need to do, I think the results will improve. And like that's the ultimate end game, But I think if we can improve the performance, get the belief in the lads, get the confidence flowing, get consistency in their performances, I think they can certainly improve. And then hopefully with that improvement, we'll get where we want to be.
And looking a bit further ahead then to the championship, Shane, like the GA plan to introduce the Tailteann Cup, the new second-tier competition for Division 3 and Division 4 teams that don't reach the provincial finals, and the semi-finals and finals will be played in Croke Park. Is that a competition that you'll be in favour of?
I would be, and I suppose I don't mean that disrespectfully to anybody, that but I do feel it's important for players to have something competitive to play for. And like the Munster Championship is a very, very competitive championship, and like with Cork and Kerry, and look at Tipperary now as well after winning this year's one, and you've got Clare in Division 2, and Limerick making great strides as well. It's a very, very competitive championship. It's great. It's coming up there now with the Ulster Championship. That to be that competitive, and I think to have that something that other avenue, a Tailteann Cup. Look, my goal is that we can do as well as we can in the Munster Championship. But if we end up in the Tailteann Cup, look, we would be qualifying for it, because we were whether we get out of Division 4 and end up in Division 3, we're still going to be Tailteann Cup qualified. I think it's something that's very achievable, and I suppose it gives the guys how great would it be to see Waterford footballers playing in Croke Park. I know that way back when Tipperary played in the Tommy Murphy Cup final, one of the teachers in school was playing cornerback in it, back in the day, Damien Byrne, and they just love this playing in Croke Park. And it's the same, I suppose looking back to the ladies football, the intermediate final and the junior final get played in Croke Park, and it's always fantastic to be playing in Croke Park. That's where every GA person in this country wants to play in Croke Park. And look, to have the semi-finals in Croke Park is a nice carrot to to be able to put in front of the lads. And look, as I said, we'll be aiming to do it as well as we can in the other championship. But if we end up in the Tailteann Cup, that'll be certainly a competition that we think we can do well in.
Well, Shane Ronayne, new Waterford senior football manager, thanks so much for your time today, and all the best for 2021.
Thanks very much, Tomas.
Lorna Porca with Tomas McCarthy on WLR.
Well, the Waterford minor hurling and football management teams have been appointed for 2021. Gary O'Keefe from Ballygunner will take over as Waterford minor hurling manager from Dara Duggan. He will be joined on the sideline by former De La Salle manager Ray Murphy and former Waterford and Westmeath boss Michael Ryan from 4 Mile Water. Tim Lenihan of the Shamrocks will stay on as Waterford minor football boss. He will be assisted by Kieran Heffernan of Stradbally, Pat Kiley Dungarvan, Gavin Whelan Colligan and Ollie Costello of Stradbally. Meanwhile, the GA Higher Education Committee confirmed on Wednesday that there will be no Fitzgibbon or Sigerson Cup competitions taking place in this academic year. The committee had been hopeful of staging the competitions, but this was not possible due to COVID-19.
Lorna Porca with Tomas McCarthy on WLR.